Hello, everyone. I'm here to talk about the day I found out my son was on a spectrum. There are moments in a life that you can never forget, moments that divide time into before and after. The day we found out our son was on a spectrum was one of those moments that it's a day that just gets stuck into your brain into not because it was a sad day or joyful, but because it's forever changed the way I see the world, and more importantly the way I see my son. Well, before the diagnosis and before we started seeing the symptoms, for months I had noticed differences in our son development. He wasn't speaking as much as other kids of his age were, and he seems to focus intensely on certain things that other children don't usually, pay attention to. When it comes to about like his social situation, he likes to play by himself. He doesn't like to stay where there is so much noise. At first, I thought, well, every child develops in their own way, in their own pace. So, and also he's a boy. Boys are late talkers, and you know, so many things are just coming into my head. But in my heart, I felt like I need to dig deeper. The mom instinct in me. Eventually, I actually reached out to his pediatrician. Then they decided to send us to a psychologist for an eval, and it was the longest day of my life because it was like 3 hours, but it felt like it was the longest day ever. So after the diagnosis, the day of the appointment arrived, and I sat in a small office with him, and the doctor carefully read the result out to me when she said, "Oh, your son is on autism spectrum." In that moment, I felt like a wave of emotions, and like I said, this is a sensitive topic. So I remember sitting there trying to hold onto the doctor's words as she talked about therapies and how he's going to need support system for the rest of his life, and also some resources. But it was really hard to focus because my mind kept replaying those words: spectrum, autism spectrum. It felt like I was stepping into another world that I don't even know how to, navigate through. So, what I've actually learned since then is there are moments of grief for expectations, and I didn't even realize that there were also moments for clarity. There will be a time that I will actually understand, you know, deeper into what it means. So I began to educate myself, and that was one of the reasons why I went into occupational therapy assistant. So to me, I feel autism is not something to fix. It was a different way of experiencing and interacting with the world. So most importantly, I realized that my son was still the same incredible child he had always been. The diagnosis didn't define him. It simply gave us like a roadmap on how to understand him and how to support him better ways. When you talk about the joy and challenges of this whole thing, is that there have been challenges navigating therapies, advocating for his needs in school, and handling the occasional judgments from others who don't understand can be exhausting. People look at you with your child and the first thing is they judge you. They don't know what you're going through. But guess what? I have watched my son accomplish so many things that I felt like he would never accomplish. So, being in his word is so fascinating, and it's joyful. You learn new things every day as you go with him. Trust me, you learn new things. If I could go back to the day of diagnosis and talk to myself, I would say I don't need to have all the answers right now. So I'll be talking to the mamas out there. You just found out that your child is on the spectrum. You don't need to have all the answers right now. Take your time, one day at a time. You will find the balance. Trust me, you will. You will. All your child needs is you, your support. Guess what? They said my son would never be able to do things by himself. He is doing so many great things by himself right now. He can talk. He's doing so many things that he's doing things that he's supposed to be doing at the age that he is right now. So please, to other parents who may be starting this journey, I want you to know that you're not alone. The road ahead may not be what you expected, but it's a road